welcome back to Vibing with a Vision, and we're checking in with Everton to see what he has been doing and where he's at and how he's feeling about everything.
Overall, feeling good. Watching back some of the material we talked about last week was really like heartwarming and very encouraging because not only was it just great conversation, I really have been putting into practice working within my financial restraints, rather, and not overextending myself in where I'm spending out more than I have coming in, and really trying to focus on saving and having a budget. And even though I have an increase that's coming in, I'm still broke. So.
Now, how has it been? How do you?
It is hard. I'm not gonna lie. It is hard because I think it's just like changing my whole mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Because instead, like you said last time, instead of saying, oh, I can get this or I need this, like, how does this facilitate with what I have planned or like a goal that I'm working towards? Does this fall in? Yes, does this fit in? And that's that's hard.
Right, of course, of course.
That is hard because it's like I'm realizing the habits, mm-hmm. and so it's like trying to like curve those behavior and those patterns, and still trying to keep in mind like, okay, dude, you're trying to get an apartment, you're trying to save, you're trying to figure out how you can like build asset as far as like, where you can like put money in and have your money, like all those things. I'm like, thinking about now before I spend something. So it's just like, oh man. And sometimes it's almost like I tend to then feel like not stuck, mm-hmm. but it's just like, okay, what's more so my question now is like, how do I maintain that momentum or kind of like encourage myself to stay the task, if you will.
Right. Well, I'm going to tell you, it's not going to be easy, right? Unfortunately, staying the task is hard.
Mm-hmm.
Knowing yourself and knowing, and setting up little things that prohibits you from, whatever it is that is here. So let's say, for instance, if you have friends, and mm-hmm. listen, a lot of times social media, your friends influence how you spend your money.
Oh, yeah.
They didn't help you make this money, but they're helping you spend it.
Sure.
And so one of the things that you are you the type that every time your friends are going out for dinner, are you going? This is the chance where you say, I would love to go, guys, but not this time. You're going to, because if you don't do that, your pocket, what happens is your money gets leaked out of your pocket in ways that you don't realize because you've been doing it for so long.
Yeah.
And until you recognize what your weakness is, you will not, because listen, you can budget all you want, go to the grocery store, buy things on sale, do all of that. But if you don't recognize the weaknesses that come, because a lot of people don't even realize going out, every time your friend wants to go somewhere and you say yes, just because you can pay for it doesn't mean you can afford it. And so what you need to say is, not this time.
Yeah.
If you are at work and everybody's buying lunch and you can't afford it, not this time. You have to learn to say, not this time.
Yeah.
You have to learn to make do with what you have.
Yeah.
Right? And stop the influences from outside. That's where it all comes from. Everything that you are doing, you're doing it based upon an influence that have told you that this is what you need to do.
Yeah.
Right? And it doesn't, it's not like it comes up and say, hey, Everton, you need to do this. But it slowly creeps into your habits. Right? You have a habit of going out with friends every Friday night. You have a habit of not knowing how to say
No. Yeah.
You know, those are habits
Yeah.
that you have to reel in and
Yeah.
say, okay, you know what? Let me go figure out who Everton is without the noise.
Yeah.
And let me tell you what Everton wants without
Yeah.
the noise.
Yeah.
Because just because, you know, I'm going to tell you, I've learned to meet people at their level, right? You have some people who are just comfortable where they are.
Yeah.
And those people, as much as I don't get it, I don't understand it,
Right.
I respect it,
Mm.
right? Because they have not allowed an influence to come in and change them, right? Even if they're stuck in their own ways.
Yeah.
And I know people who, you know, don't drive.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I don't
Yeah.
understand it.
Yeah.
But I respect it.
Yeah.
If you don't ever want to drive, I can work with it.
That's good.
Because they have not allowed somebody like me or you to come in and say, go get a car.
Right.
You know, they're
It's a
comfortable taking the
necessity.
bus.
Yeah.
I'm comfortable with them taking the
Well,
bus.
yeah.
I'm not comfortable taking the bus.
Right. But that works for you.
But that works for me.
Yeah.
And everything that works for me doesn't work for you.
Right.
And you have to know what your limits are. You
Yeah.
have to know, you know, who you are, what you want, and you have to then stick to it and not allow somebody to influence what you want
Yeah.
or what you do.
That's a very good point, because I think sometimes, you know, in my mind, when I agree to, like, if, you know, some friends reach out like, hey, we're going to do this, are you around? Normally I'd be like, yeah, I'll go and whatever, and I can, you know, pay for it.
Right.
But should I be doing it? That's the question. And so now it's like, as you said, knowing yourself and knowing what it is that you're trying to, you know, what you're trying to accomplish
Right.
and where you're trying to go, I think would definitely help me to decide, like, okay, this time I would love to, but,
Right.
you know, maybe another time. And I think also, like, trying to teach myself to not feel bad to say, you know, not this time.
But if you're team Everton, right?
Yeah. Yes. All
How
the
do you
way.
feel bad when you're the gaining? Again,
Oh,
this is
that's
all.
good.
It's all
That's
this
good.
social, you know, pressure that
Yeah.
we put on ourselves
That
that
you
we
don't
don't
even
have to
realize.
put on
Yeah.
ourselves. Like, listen, I don't feel bad if you ask me to go to dinner and I say no, I can't. I don't feel bad because it's in my best interest.
Right.
Right? That has nothing to do with you. It's not. I don't want to go to dinner with Everton because I don't like Everton.
Yeah.
It's
more
Denise's pocket. It just does
Yeah.
not align. And so,
That's
can we
good.
do dinner another time?
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you a question. Since you've been an adult, how many times have you gone out with friends? Exactly.
Yeah.
It's something that was there long. It'll still be there.
Yeah.
The
That's true.
opportunity to, unless these people are dying, the opportunity will
Will
be
always
there
be there.
after. And so put yourself in a better position. Like, for instance, one of the things that when I go out to dinner with friends, like I see it's a big thing on the internet when people go out to dinner with friends
Yeah.
and everybody's trying to split up the bill and people can't afford it and then people get upset. Listen, put yourself in the position that when I invite you out to dinner,
Yes.
I don't care if I invite 6 of you to dinner.
Yes.
That's on me.
Yes.
And I'm paying for dinner.
Yes.
That's the position you want to be in.
Yeah. Truly.
Right? And you can get there
Yeah.
if you're not so busy having outside influence what's happening with your pocket. And you don't have to nickel and dime people, all your friends, because at the end of the day, all of us is not on the same wavelength when it comes to finances, right?
Yeah.
And so if we go out with somebody who makes $20,000 a year and we all decide to go to a nice restaurant, do I really expect that person to split the bill. I
Right.
don't.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So I invite people to go out to dinner, and I'm going to treat them because I can afford it, and
Yes.
I invite it.
Yes.
Right? I'm not doing the, oh, you paid this, you only ate this. And let me tell you something. If you go out with people like that, they're not really your friends. They don't like you. Because think about it. If you go out with your closest friends, do you really care that they ate something and you've got to pay for it?
No.
You don't.
It's just fair.
Right.
Yeah.
It's these are not your friends. If you go out and you're complaining about who
got
did what, they're not your real friends. And again, now you're letting people who ain't really matter influence how you're spending
Very
your money.
good point. Very,
Like,
very good point.
I don't understand
Yeah.
how you can allow other people to
Yeah.
dictate the money that you just worked hard for.
Yeah.
Even believe it or not, the car that you drive is
Mhm.
influenced by your surroundings.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Everything that you do is influenced by what is happening around you.
That's true.
But if you knew who you are, and if you
wouldn't.
know what you want in life,
Yeah.
everything else is noise. And until you can come to a place where you understand this is noise that was created to distract you from what you're supposed to do,
Mhm.
it becomes easier,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because at the end of the day, these people don't have your problems. These people don't have to pay your bills.
No.
So why do you give them that much power,
Mm.
right? So I would say to you, really take a look at what it is going on with you and figure out how do you roadblock it.
Yeah.
That's all you got to do is put up little roadblocks for you. If you're the yes guy that likes to say yes, put your damn phone on do not disturb and tell people that after hours you can't be reached.
Like at a certain time.
Yeah, I can't be reached because
I'm
you
trying to
know
text
you're
you.
going to say, create space.
Yeah.
Tell your friends, listen,
Take
I'm
control.
going through. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm going through something right now.
Yeah.
It's not about anybody. It's about myself.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you after 5 o'clock, I'm just not available. Boom.
Mhm.
Now I don't have to worry that anybody's going to ask me, hey, Denise, there's something going on. Don't ask. I'm not going. Don't ask. I've already said it. Now, the friend that asked
Yeah.
just needs to be cut because you don't understand boundaries.
Yeah.
Right? I just said to you, I am going through something. I'm trying to figure this out.
Yeah.
Give me a minute.
Yeah.
And,
when
yeah.
I'm ready, I'll come back around.
I'll come back around.
Yeah.
I'm working on me right now.
Yeah.
I'm working on who I am and what it is that I desire and how I'm going to get there.
Yeah.
But you can't get there worrying about everybody else
Yeah.
and having outside influence how you're going to make these decisions.
That is the problem because it's almost like, and then what I'm also realizing in regards to this, like a segue, it's just like, and I think it ties back into just knowing, you know, who you are and what you're trying to achieve, understanding that and knowing to not, because I feel like sometimes when I look at other people and see their growth or see where they are financially, it's like without realizing I compete or not compete, compare.
Right.
And I sometimes have to like remind myself, whoa.
Right.
Like everyone's journey is different, and so you can't try to measure where you are with someone else because you don't know where they started or what is happening, you know, behind closed doors or with them personally. So it's almost like trying to figure out or trying to learn how to, so to speak, like put like blinders on so I won't look and pay attention to like many people that has things going for them, and like learning how to just focus on what I can do for myself and how to build my own empire, so to speak.
Well, I'm going to tell you what my father would told me
Yeah.
many years ago. He said to me, hold your head and just bat the fucking ball. That's it.
Just swing.
Like, stop worrying about what's out there.
Mm-hmm.
The day you start only focusing on what matters to you, is the day it gets clearer. Because right now, you're so busy watching what's going on in the stadium that you can't bat your ball. You just can't. You're not focused on you. You're focused on everything else around you, but you're not focused on you. And the minute you start understanding that I am priority, right? I'm taking care of me. That's when things become clearer, things becomes much easier. And it's easier said than done because there's so many people out there that is caring people.
Yeah.
That all they want to do is help people and take care of people, and yet still they can't really take care of themselves because they're busy taking care of everybody else. And so you have to just really start by paying attention to you, figuring out what's best for you. You know, and once you figure that out, it gets much easier when you can at least close out all the noise that's going on.
That's true.
But if you're going to compare yourself, you know, years ago I heard this saying that always stuck with me. Success is not based upon you. Is not measured by how far you've gotten, right? It's the obstacles that you've overcome. And so when I see people, I'm not quick, just because you're in a high level job and you're making all this money, I don't associate you being successful.
Yeah.
I can look at you and I can draw my own conclusion. You probably got a rich daddy somewhere. You probably got somebody who gave you a hand up.
Yeah.
You probably, I don't know, but I'm not assuming that, oh, you scratched and you made your way up.
Yeah.
Whereas you might have a person who has nothing, still have basically nothing, but they have survived.
Yeah.
You understand? Because they've been through some shit and they're still here. They're still standing, and they may not have as much, but they have not crumbled.
Yeah.
And so you can't look at yourself and look at other people, because again, your experience is what brought you here. Your knowledge is what brought you here. Everything is all designed about Everton, right? Because you and your siblings grow up in the same house, 3 different personalities, right? So you can't compare yourself with other people.
Yeah. Because I think it's just and that's, I also think there's a lot of like social aspects in that where it causes one to think, because there are so many things that show you or says this is what you should be, or this is what success look like, or this is what you should be incurring, like
but it's a manipulation,
you know?
right? Let me just help you with this. And once the day you understand this, somebody has to fund rich people's lifestyle, and who it is, it's poor people, right? And so what the rich people have done is convince you that you want to live like them and you can live like them, but you don't have their money.
Right.
Right? So but their companies need to make money. And so if you can buy into, you know, wearing designer this, designer that, if you can buy the newest phones, if you can drive the latest car, you're funding somebody's pocket, but you don't have it. Right. Now, I'm not saying, listen, once you've gotten to a certain stage and you can afford a Porsche, drive a Porsche.
Right.
Nobody's hating.
No.
Nobody thinks you shouldn't.
No.
But if you work at Burger King, you're not driving a Porsche. If you live in an apartment, you're not driving a Porsche. Listen, unless you live in a luxury apartment and you choose to live in that luxury apartment, then that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Because finances is not a problem, but you can't say finances is a problem. You can't say I'm struggling financially, but then you're making certain types of decisions. And the problem is companies want you to buy into their products. They need your money, right? And so they've created a system, and social media is one of them, right? That makes you feel like if you haven't gotten to a certain place, you ain't shit. And I'm gonna tell you, that's why I'm saying to you, you have to learn to understand that social media is a place where I go when I want to laugh about something, right? I'm not a social media person. I have like 18 friends on my Instagram. I think I still got 60 friends on Facebook because Facebook been around longer. And I only go on there if I don't go on there to see what people is doing. But every so often I love the jokes, right?
Yeah.
I love
And the memes.
laughing and the stupid stuff. But at the same time, I feel bad
Yeah.
because, you know, you have people who sit and just watch this all day, every day.
Oh, like doom
And-
scrolling.
Yeah, and so, you know, but social media, if you're not careful, it creeps into how you make your decisions. And you can't allow social media to peer pressure you
Yeah.
into making decisions that is not good for you, right? But if you know who you are and you know what you want, no matter what comes across my screen, I know what to go this, and I know when to look at something.
Yeah.
Right? Scroll past or look at it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of advice on social media,
Yeah.
and I often say it's not good advice. Right?
Yeah.
There's a little misleading about these advice. I've seen advice where people tell you to go to ChatGPT to fix your credit. Okay. I've seen people tell you can get business loans like that. Okay. What you don't read is the small fine print.
Yeah.
And so people do things for clicks because they're going to get, listen, you don't have to like my goddamn channel. Hell, you don't have to follow me. But if I can just, I want to be able to do for people is, I want to be able to spark an idea.
Yeah.
I want you to know that, you know, if you strategically do something, whether it's me or someone else, because I don't necessarily think I'm for everybody, right? When I was a business consultant, I wasn't for everybody. When I met clients and they seemed like they're not my personality, I would refer them to some other firm because I'm not taking them on.
Yeah.
If you can't, when you call me and you got on the phone telling me about an idea, and I know it's bullshit, I'm telling you it's bullshit, I'm getting you off my phone. I'm not wasting my time. I definitely ain't wasting your time just to get your money. I'm just gonna tell you no, that we ain't doing that. Click and that's it. Now you're either gonna say, oh my God, I can't believe she did that, and not come back, or you're going to be like, well, thanks Denise for telling me the truth because I didn't have to spend all this money and then find out that it was bullshit in the first place.
Yeah.
So, you know, I try to make sure that content that I put out there, it's something that I have worked in my own life. I can tell you that it worked. I can tell you how to do it. I can show you how to get there. But what I won't do is I won't just put content out there just for people to click or tell people things just because I want them to like my videos or anything of that sort. Strategy is not for everybody, right? There's different strategy for different people, and there are some people who, no matter how much strategy you give them, they'll never get it. And it's not like they don't want to get it. It's they're just not capable of getting it, right? We learn differently. We we do things differently, and so we receive information differently. And so I would say to people, once you listen to this video, it should spark something inside of you, or it should at least, if it resonate with you, you'll say, oh, I can follow this person because I get it. That means me and you, our thoughts are aligned. But our thoughts are not always aligned because somebody will go, oh no, I can't do this, swipe past me. And that's okay because I've swiped past people who, like many years ago, I read this article about this woman who bought, when I was trying to get into commercial real estate, I read this blogger, and she was explaining how she got her first set of down payment.
Oh, yeah.
And it was through credit cards.
Oh.
And I understood how she got it because I'm capable of understanding and following her through, but I knew that wasn't my personality. If you think I'm going to juggle 10 credit cards with 10 different balances, just to get a certain amount of money. I just couldn't. I couldn't
Yeah.
follow it. It didn't mean that her stuff didn't work. It just mean it wasn't for my
Her
personality.
process.
And I'm not going to do
Yeah.
that. And I could recognize, because I know myself, I can recognize and say, yeah, Denise, leave this one alone. You can't follow this, and you're not going to follow it through. Even if I started it, I wouldn't follow it through.
No,
10
so-
credit cards
that's
just to
it.
get 20% to buy something, and now I got to pay not only this mortgage, I got to pay back these credit cards. And I was
Yes.
like, yeah, no, this is not for me. So certain things, it's not that it doesn't work. It's just not, it doesn't fit a line
Yeah.
with your personality, and
Yes.
that's okay.
Yeah.
But it all comes down to you
knowing yourself.
knowing yourself. And if you don't get right and know yourself, and that's the hardest part.
Yeah.
Right? Is just really
Just
knowing
being
yourself.
honest with yourself, and knowing, really what is going to work for you, and just the reality or realization of that. And I think when you start to be honest with yourself and knowing and learning what really works for you, I think it makes it a lot more easier, definitely, for you to differentiate, what is actually going to help make you grow and what's not in your favor, or
Right.
what's not going to work.
Right.
But it's getting to that place of honesty with yourself, both realizing where you are financially, and what's it going to take for you to get to, or even just to create a trajectory
Right.
to get to that finish line, so to speak, comes from just like being honest with the state of where you are.
Right.
And then then you can actually make a game plan, so to speak.
But let me ask you a question. Are you willing to take a year or two to invest in yourself?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. I think getting, not even like just my age, it's just realizing like, okay, how are you setting, it's like, this is a question I ask myself, how are you setting yourself up for success?
Right.
What is it going to take for you to, or what does it take to, start with a good foundation to then build on
Right.
that foundation? What would it require? The time, the
Right.
energy, the focus, the resources, for you to set like a good foundation so you can actually build something that would last.
Right.
So that's like where my mind is now, hence why, even these conversations are asking you these questions, because it's like, I think my mind is finally realizing like, dude,
Get your shit together.
literally.
Yeah.
So it's just like, okay. And it's not like, in my mind, like I would sometimes think like, oh gosh, I don't want to feel like I'm playing catch up, but it's like, no.
No, you're
Once the realization is
Right.
there, that's already good.
right. But you do also know that it's okay to give yourself grace.
Oh, wow, that is so funny you said that. I literally heard like someone say the very same thing, and like that, wow.
Yeah, it's
Wow,
okay.
wow.
Listen, I learned when I was being honest with myself, one of the things I did was I didn't just look at me, right? I look at the two people who raised me. And then I didn't just look at the two people who raised me.
Yeah.
I look at who raised them.
Damn, yeah.
And I can then see, there are certain things that I can see that is in me
Lineage.
that is just, it was inevitable.
Yeah.
And so I can say to myself, like, I'm an aggressive person by nature.
Yeah.
Like, just really aggressive. Really aggressive. But I got it from, like, my father. There's nobody more aggressive than my father. Right? And I was raised by my dad.
Yeah.
And so the joke in our house now, every time I do something, I'll say to myself, or I'll say to the kids, or I'll say to my family, I didn't stand a chance. I didn't stand a chance. because, you know, these bad habits that I've
Yeah.
formed. The only great thing I can say about both my parents, and that's why I'm savvy with money, is
Yeah.
both my parents are savvy with money. And so, yes,
Thank you,
they
parents.
did, yes. My mother and father are both two savvy people. And so that passed down to me. But I got lots of bad habits that passed
Yeah.
down with me. And so I had to look at it and say, okay, it's not something that I just developed. It's something that I've watched. It's something that I've experienced. And it's something that has become a part of
Yep.
me. And so I can now choose,
Yeah.
what do I do with it,
Yep.
right? You choose now to say, okay, you know what? I didn't get to where I need to go. And I'm okay with it because
Yeah.
it's not going to hinder me from getting to where I'm going. You know, I was a single mom. My parents were devastated the fact that I was a single mom, but I knew that that wasn't going to stop me from getting to where I needed to go to, right? So nothing. Once you know who you are, and you're determined to get to where you're going, it's easier. And you've learned to forgive yourself for things that was out of your control, right? And now, I mean, I don't ever look at people like they're supposed to know something. I always give people the doubt that they just don't know. And so I look at everybody almost like, you know, my brother says whenever you say that, you make it sound like people are it.
No.
And I would say
I
to
get
you,
what
besides
you
the fact
mean.
that I do believe a lot of people are full of shit in general, because they never say what they really mean and they want us to all
man.
interpret. But that's just my rant. But for the most part, I give people grace because I do understand that we were not all taught certain things. And so I can't be mad at you for not knowing something because you weren't taught it, right? But it's the fact that you are willing to seek the information, now you're going to be judged based upon what you do with the information.
That you
right?
found, or given.
Right. And so I would just say to you, you know, cut yourself some slack.
Yeah.
You're not worse off than everybody else.
Yeah.
It's just that you were misguided, right? And you bought into the whole social pressure that in order for you to live, you have to go out with all these people.
Yeah.
You have to always be on social cue. You always got to be, you know,
gotta keep up.
And keep up. And it's not your fault. As I said, the system designed it this way. Because if all of us stopped buying Lexuses and BMWs who couldn't afford it, trust me, they wouldn't be making half as money as they are. If so they rely on people to want to be, you know,
feed
right.
into the
idea that I've made it, right? Listen, for me, I made it means that I can do whatever I want to do. I make it, you know, when I say I made it in life, no, I may not have billions and billions of dollars, but I can sleep better at night than most people who are like, have all this money because they have all this problems.
Yeah.
I ain't got no problems. I live a very peaceful life. That's because my
awesome.
Environment is very controlled. You
Yeah.
do not have access to me unless I decide to give you access.
Right.
On social media, you got to go through CJ. You're not getting straight to me.
Yeah.
If you want me, if you don't know me directly, and even if you know me directly, you call me or text me, you get me when you get me. So I don't allow outsiders. Nothing influences who Denise Leckie is. Denise Leckie has been in the making for over 50 years, and there's nothing that is going to deter me from either my goals or anything. I know exactly who I am. I know what my values are. I know there's nothing about me that you're going to come in here and tell me about myself, and I'm going to get upset over.
Right.
Right?
You already know who you are.
Because I already know.
Yeah.
And if you call me something that I believe that I'm not, if you feel that way, and that's how you experience me, then walk with it. But please don't don't think that I'm gonna lose sleep at night
like
over
I'm
it.
bothered. Yeah.
Yeah, listen.
Yeah, we give people way too much power sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes, all the time. People give people too much power over their lives and their pockets.
Yeah.
And their pockets, because I promise you, if you had no friends,
Mm.
and I promise you, you would have more money in your pocket, and you would be further in life because you wouldn't be running here, there, and everywhere.
No, it's funny
and being
because
the social butterfly. And Everton is a social butterfly.
Way too many people, which is cool.
Yeah, because they might watch this, so
Which
you don't
is
want
cool.
you don't want to say anything.
I love all you guys. I mean that. I do love y'all, but I think sometimes being pulled here, there, and everywhere, and then it's not always like. I don't say this to say like oh, I gotta pay more money to do this. It's just like, dang, I really wish, I wouldn't have to come out of pocket with so much just to finance going to hang out. And it's not like I don't want to hang or like.
But why do you have to spend money to hang out?
It's basically sometimes what we're doing. But I've gotten better with saying no. I have gotten better with saying I can't. I have gotten better with saying I'm busy.
Okay. And just keep saying it till your bank account matches. Your bank account matches your friends. The number of friends you've got.
Listen, if I keep. Oh man, and it's not like you don't want to enjoy your life, and I feel there are some people.
There's no such thing that says you can't enjoy your life.
Yeah.
You enjoy it within the means of what you can afford. Listen, it is so hard being poor.
Yeah.
I don't understand how people do it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to go to bed struggling and wondering how I'm going to pay a bill, but I'm going to go hang out with you. I'm having a good time with you, and then I'm going to go home and stress.
Yeah.
No.
It's going to take away from all that good experience you just had.
Yeah. No.
So it doesn't make any sense.
All you have to do, Everton, is one, there's no sugarcoating it, right?
Yeah.
You either work hard now, play later.
Yeah.
Play now, work hard later.
Yeah.
Pick your poison.
Yeah.
Right?
Truly.
And you can enjoy life. I mean, I grew up in society where there was no social media, right? I grew up in the Bronx where you rode your bicycle outside, you hung out with your friends, you played. We didn't pay, there was no money, right? I remember even as you got older, I mean, I don't remember every time I'm hanging out with my friends, I'm spending money.
Yeah.
We used to hang out just to hang out, talk, play cards, do all sorts of stuff. Now, I mean, even 13-year-olds, they're going out with friends. They need a couple $100s in their pockets. And I'm like, for what?
Right.
For what?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You don't even earn $1, much less a couple hundred.
Money.
Yeah. Like, where are you coming from?
Yeah.
So I just definitely think that, when you give into that social pressure, and don't allow people to tell you that you can't have a good time unless you're spending money. You can spend all the money in the world, but if you go home and then you're biting your nails, was it worth it?
Out, like, where you're gonna get this from to pay this, you're sitting at dinner and you have anxiety if your check your credit card's gonna go through. I mean, who wants to live Thank God
like
I've never been there.
Who wants to live like that? Like
the Lord, never been there.
Yeah, but there's people.
But I've experienced.
People do that.
And it's like, I don't want that to reach me. What I mean? And so it's just like, again, just coming back around with just knowing who you are.
Right.
Understanding who you are and not living outside of your means.
Right.
Or, living within your financial circle, so to speak. And just re-emphasizing, like, what's it going to take or what you need to do in order to, get to that place where you're trying to get financially stable, like you said, where you can do what you want.
Right.
Because I think that's a dream for everyone, honestly, especially that you're living in this country and being someone of immigrant descent, where you're brought to this country to get the American dream of being financed. Yeah, well, that's what we were sold.
Okay, you were sold.
Exactly.
You were sold.
And I bought into the idea, and it's like as you get older, you start realizing that was a facade.
But it really was. It wasn't so much of a facade.
Mm-hmm.
I think the yes, they sold a bag of goods.
Right.
But I think that what happens to some of us when we come here, or even the people that live here, we allow outside to influence us, right? I know when my family came here from Jamaica, I was a kid, and the goal was always, my dad would say to me, if I have to come here and live a certain type of way, I might as well go home.
Truly.
And so you come here because there is an opportunity here, but we don't one of the things that happens is we're not really taught how to use capitalize on what's here, or how to use the information to get to where we need to get. Because think about it, even if you're an immigrant and you came here, unless you come to a rich family that already has it, chances are you're in the urban area, rural area, you're in an area where you're mixed amongst middle class and poor people. And what happens is they only give us certain information, right? Because if you give the people too much information, they start making different decisions. And again, like I said, somebody has to fund rich people's lifestyle. And it is on the backs of poor people and middle class people. Because at the end of the day, this is who buys the products. This is who buy into the fake life that they have given. And to build wealth, there was no class that was teaching us how to build wealth.
No.
There was no class that was telling us how to invest your money, or
make your money work for you, how to multiply. Nothing.
So we're told, but at the end of the day, the information is floating around out there.
True.
So they make the information available, but if you don't teach me how to use it, why am I using it?
What's the point?
How to use it? Then what's the point of giving it to me? Right?
That makes sense.
And so at the end of the day, we got the information, but a lot of us, it went over our heads because you then had to dig a little deeper. And not everybody knows or is savvy enough to dig a little deeper. And so you find that they're just stuck in this cycle. And so I would say that, again, as long as you know who you are, what you want, and you become priority, and you do not allow outside noise to influence any decisions that you make, you'll be just fine. Listen, from the day I've been born, I've been given a name, and I hold dear to my name, and I know who I am. And you cannot come over here and convince me of nothing. Of nothing. Even if I'm wrong, that is a flaw of mine. I get that from my dad. Even if I'm wrong, my father is an old Jamaican man. Even when he's wrong,
strong.
Oh my God, he's wrong and strong. Oh man. And so but the thing is, I have to come to my conclusion that I'm wrong, right? I have to go
need to believe it for myself.
Yes, but I'm not going to allow you to come over here and just be just like, hey,
take your word for it.
I'm just not. I'm not one of those people, and so I have a strong head. There is a good thing about it, and there's negative sides to it because my dad used to say to me, Denise, careful you don't close too many doors. You might close yourself out of an opportunity one day because, I'll cut people off in a heartbeat. You cross your boundaries with me, you get cut off. And so You just have to, as long as, I just believe that, as long as you stay true to yourself,
Yeah.
you know who you are, and you figure out where you want to go, sky's the limit at that point. But do not allow outsiders to get into your head and influence what decisions you make, especially decisions about your pocket, especially when they're not even helping you make the money.
That part.
Like,
That
you didn't
part.
even help me make my money. How are
Did
you
you
helping
bring me
me?
to work?
How you
Did you
helping
buy me lunch? Did you pick me up?
You didn't see me?
No. You drove by. So
So yes.
you have no. It's true. It's just one of those things. It's just like like you said, just knowing yourself
Yes.
and just standing in that, honestly.
Yes.
Because, ugh,
So, all right. So what are we gonna do?
we are continuing to live within our means, and even when I have more money coming in, I'm broke.
Exactly.
But also, one of the things that I want to do some research on is just learning, like, because I remember you were telling me with like money, like finding ways or how you can invest your money to have it,
Work for
doing
you.
things in the background while you're still making other. So it's like, figuring out how to like get into things like that and how
Right.
you can invest well.
Right.
Is
Well,
one
we're
of the
gonna have to do a class with Everton and teach him how to invest
Y'all
his
come
money.
join this class.
And
'Cause I'm learning. I'm learning.
and figure out how to make your money work for you, because
Yeah.
it's sitting in the bank won't do anything.
I remember the first time you told me that, and I know so many people that would just have money in their savings account, and it would just be there, and it was actually like you told me about this, and then oddly enough, working up a patient, it's good to conversate with people, get off your phone and talk to people. No, truly, like, because it was working with a patient, and I was somehow like picked their brain, and she told me about a high interest savings account that you can open up where you just put money in there, and because it's high interest based on what you put in, you get a monthly incur. Is that the correct term? Like like an interest on the money that you put in there, and I'm like, what? I had no idea about these things.
Yeah, but those accounts are for lots of money.
Right.
Right. It's for lots of money. And so if you are at the point where you have lots of money, then yes, that's great. You you put your money into a money marketing account, or there's so many different types of accounts that you can put your money into.
Yeah.
But for somebody who's starting out, I'm gonna tell you your best bet. What you can do is, let's say for instance, you give yourself $1,000 your goal. Once you get that $1,000, you move that $1,000 to a CD and you lock it in. And that's a good way to one, not touch the money, and then second, it'll grow in interest. But those type of accounts where you're living off of the interest off of your account, those are money that is like millions of dollars that's in those accounts.
That's just sitting there.
That's just sitting there. Those people, they've either retired or whatever, or they have their passive income coming in. And so I wouldn't say somebody in your stage should be putting money there first. I'm gonna say to you, make sure you have a certain amount of money put aside for an emergency fund, right? Because people who don't have emergency funds, they tend to live off credit cards if something happens to them. So make sure you secure that. Once you secure that, then you start just like you clear off any debt if you have any debt. And then everything else you start building. And while you're building, you're researching of where you're going to put this money.
Yeah.
And that's where and don't go into something just because somebody said so.
Yeah.
Because remember, again, we talked about it. every strategy is not for everybody.
Yeah, that's
And
not
so you have to
for you.
figure out
What works for you.
works for you that
Sure.
you can do that is not going to be like a burden. Because
Yeah.
if it becomes a burden, you're never going to do
Yeah,
it.
then they're not really building.
Right. Like there I remember when I decided to get into commercial real estate is because I hate people. And I did residential real estate is not landlord friendly.
Yeah.
And I don't want to deal with residential tenants.
Mhm.
I like commercial because my leases are at least 5+
Mhm.
years on my leases. And it that works for my personality.
Mhm.
It's a triple net lease. I don't if the pipe broke, don't call me. Anything's happening, don't call me unless the roof is on fire. Then you can call me.
Yeah.
But anything else, don't bother me.
Yeah.
So that's where my personality is. My personality is not, there's a lead, Miss Lecky, there's something going on in my apartment and I need help. Don't call me. So I knew that my personality would just not be
No,
there.
yeah.
So you call me and tell me that, especially at the wrong time, when I'm dealing with something else, you might just get cussed out and hang up on. So that's why I decided commercial real estate is the way
yeah.
to go. And some people might say they don't like commercial real estate because it's harder to get into.
Yeah.
You know, but again, nothing good comes easy. It just really doesn't. And so you just have to figure out, listen, you have some people that's really good with stocks.
Mhm.
I couldn't pick a stock to save my life. I picked stocks based upon where I shopped. That's
Yeah.
how I got. You know, I have Charles Schwab, and I buy my stocks just based upon if somebody tells if I read something and it says it's a good stock, I'll go look it up, and if it seems okay, I'll jump on it. But I don't know anything about stocks. That's
Yeah.
not where my money is. But I do, you know, have stocks in companies that I love. TJ Maxx and Marshall. I got stocks there. I got Verizon stocks. I got stocks in companies that I personally.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that they're good stocks. It just means that I figure more or less if I'm going to shop somewhere on a regular, if I'm going to be a part of something on a regular, let me buy some shares into this company.
Yeah. That would.
But
Yeah.
you have to figure out, you know, where you are in regards to what you're willing to learn, what you can do, and then you can figure out where you want to invest your money.
Mm. That's good.
Yeah. But make sure that you save your money
Yes.
so that you can invest your money.
Say no.
And so, listen, in a year or two,
Yeah.
you can turn around like that.
That's
We're
true.
going to have Dave on this.
Oh, Dave.
And Dave is going to come on and talk about the fact that he turned his whole life
Oh
around.
yes, Dave.
Yeah.
Dave. Yeah.
Yeah. So he'll be
Good dude, good dude.
he'll be a story to listen to.
Good dude, yeah. It's
Hopefully
really cool.
people will tune into him.
Oh, I
So,
believe
yeah.
so.
Yeah.
And he's a really funny guy.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
That man.
Yes, he is.
He's a good dude.
All right, so we will check in back with Everton and see
Yes.
how he's doing, and you know,
Doing good. Learning to say no
learning to say no. All right.
with no explanation.
Okay.
Just no.
All right. Say no to finance.
Say no to spending.
Say no to spending. Okay. All right.